Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "Whoever loves me will keep my word, and my Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our dwelling with him. Whoever does not love me does not keep my words. Yet the word you hear is not mine, but that of the Father who sent me. I have told you this while I am with you. The Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I have told you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give it to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled or afraid. You heard me tell you that I am going away and I will come back to you. If you love me, you would rejoice that I am going to the Father, for the Father is greater than I. And now I have told you this before it happens, so that when it happens, you may believe." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I was thinking about wonderful and fantastic things this week. To one generation represented here, probably one of the most wonderful and fantastic things was walking on the moon. For another generation, one of the most wonderful and fantastic things was the iPhone. More computer power than the lunar module. Unbelievable. And probably the next generation is going to really see the automatic car. I'd like one of those. But really, is there anything more fantastic than the resurrection of Jesus Christ? Is there? There is nothing more important. There is nothing more wonderful than the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Because in the resurrection, God conquered death by dying on the cross and rising from the dead. And even more fantastic than that fact is this, that he didn't do it for himself, he did it for you. Jesus Christ rose from the dead. He did it for you. Somebody asked me after my parents had died, they said, "You never cried at either of your parents' funeral. What was up with that?" Well, only my family saw me cry when they closed the casket on my dad at the funeral parlor. And no one saw me cry about a month after my mother's death, when I accidentally stumbled upon a voicemail that was still in my iPhone, and I listened to it. And I didn't cry at their funerals because in the limo on the way over to the church, my brothers and my sister said, "Hey, you're the priest. Put your game face on and do this." That's your job in the family. Yeah. However, how is it that I didn't cry, really? Because I believe it's true that Jesus Christ died and rose from the dead for us. And if it's not true, I just wasted 41 years of my life on a journey to priesthood and being a priest for 32 years. I don't believe it was a waste of time. Jesus makes some very stark promises in this gospel. Today, you should claim these. They're words of promise. He says, whoever loves me will keep my word. What does that mean? Does that mean it's a type of commandment? No. It's an invitation to a lover. Cherish what I say. Hang on to it. Caress it because it's true. And believe it when the worst comes. Whoever loves me will keep my word. And here are some of those words. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Peace I leave with you. We, that is the Holy Trinity, we will make our dwelling place in you. I'm not in the clouds, I'm here. The Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I have told you. And finally, I am going away, and I will come back to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Someone in confession eventually pops in, typical of something like this: nervous, agitated. Bless me, Father, I've sinned. I've been away from the church for years. Voice trembling. One of my friends recently began going back to church. It was a message. I saw the difference that it made in him. I suddenly wanted what he had, a peace. He never preached anything to me. But the peace in his life spoke volumes to me. Peace I leave with you, Jesus would say. My peace I give you. Yes, and so it can be spread. The person who impressed this guy who walks in the confessional with his story is an unwitting accomplice of a conversion. Just because he was. He revealed a life that had peace. Didn't require any eloquent speech. The Trinity had been dwelling in that man, and it affected and touched someone else. Through this guy, the Trinity was made known to a friend, and it led him to peace and a revival of faith in the resurrection. Jesus says he will make a dwelling place within. The advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I have told you. Father, I recently started reading the Bible, but all of a sudden, deep down inside, I feel there's something missing. Couldn't put my finger on it at first. But then all of a sudden, I realized how foolish I was. I'm a Catholic. And I need Holy Communion. But I know I got to clean up my life first before I can welcome Jesus in. Can you help me with that? The Holy Spirit taught this guy. Jesus says here in the gospel, I have told you all this before it happens. What is he talking about? The event that happens. Not only his crucifixion, but the day when we get on the cross with him and die. I have told you all this before it happens, so that when it happens, you may believe. Father, I'm going to die of cancer. Am I a hypocrite to turn to God now? I'm so scared. No, God wastes no opportunity to find one of his lost sheep and reclaim one of his dear children and cherish your soul. Because he promised, I will come back to you. My child, I will come back to you in the resurrection. I will come back to you that you may be with me, Jesus promises.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, qui aquam merum isti portare, alleluia, resurrexit sicut dixit, alleluia.